Welcome to Moon Mind. In this video, imagine for a moment that you are carrying 7 stones. Not in your hands alone, but in the mind, the heart, and the body. You have held them for so long that heaviness feels normal. The arms no longer remember what lightness once felt like. Each stone carries a different burden. One is the environment that quietly drains your spirit. Another is the painful pattern you keep returning to, even when it hurts. One stone is old anger, still warm from something that happened years ago. Another is the habit you reach for whenever discomfort rises. The distraction. The avoidance. The thing that numbs but never heals. There is the stone of ego. The constant effort of protecting how you appear. There is the stone of endless mental noise. The mind that never seems to stop speaking. And there is the heaviest stone of all. The rigid belief that life must unfold according to the script you have written for it. A Buddhist teacher once asked his students to hold stones while he spoke. At first, it seemed easy. But as the hour passed, their arms began to ache. The weight became unbearable. The teacher smiled and said, "The stones did not become heavier. You simply held them too long. And this is the quiet beginning of freedom." What if liberation is not about becoming someone new? What if it is simply remembering that you are allowed to put the stones down? Wherever you are tonight. Beneath moonlight. Streetlights. Or the gentle darkness of your room. You are in exactly the right place. If something feels heavy, it does not mean something is wrong with you. It may simply mean you have been carrying burdens you forgot could be released. Tonight, we walk through 7 ancient Buddhist teachings. Not teachings about gaining more, but about releasing what no longer belongs in your hands. The Buddha taught that what we seek is already here. Like the open sky hidden behind clouds. The sky never disappears. Only the clouds move across it. The first burden is often the hardest to notice because it surrounds you. Your environment. Not only the room you sit in, though that matters deeply. Also the people whose energy shapes your days. The voices you hear every morning. The content you absorb before sleep. The conversations that fill your commute. The emotional atmosphere waiting behind your front door. All of it enters quietly. Slowly. Almost invisibly. Think of it like water soaking into cloth. At first, you barely notice. But over time, the fabric changes completely. Your environment is not separate from you. You live inside it. You breathe it. Absorb it. Adapt to it. Eventually, you begin to mistake it for yourself. Another person's anxiety becomes your baseline. Chaos begins to feel normal. Anger becomes the lens through which you see the world. Because the shift is gradual, most people do not realize it has happened until they are already swimming in water they never meant to enter. The Buddha spoke directly about this truth. Association with the wise brings clarity. Association with the unwise brings suffering. This is not moral judgment. It is simple observation. Who you spend your time with shapes the atmosphere of your mind. What you repeatedly consume teaches the mind what to consider normal. Where you place your body determines what your inner world absorbs. You cannot grow a lotus in poisoned water. No amount of discipline can fully protect peace inside a toxic environment. Eventually, the environment wins. And most people do not realize how harmful their surroundings have become until exhaustion settles into the bones. It happens slowly. One compromise. One excuse. One "it's not that bad" at a time. Then one morning, you wake up tired in a way sleep cannot fix. And you cannot remember when breathing started to feel this difficult. There is an ancient story about a young man who learned this truth through suffering. His name was Sagala. When his father died, he left him wealth, a home, and careful instructions. But among all the inheritance, one teaching mattered more than the rest. On his deathbed, his father drew him close and said, "Choose your companions carefully. They are the water you swim in. Clear water strengthens. Poisoned water destroys so slowly you do not notice until it is too late." Sigala promised to remember. But grief has a strange way of making wisdom feel distant. Advice from the dying can sound like worry from another world. A few months later, Sigala met them in the market. 5 young men, confident and magnetic. Their laughter carried across the stalls. Their clothes were elegant. Their movements careless in the way youth mistakes for freedom. One of them, named Dvaka, noticed Sigala standing alone. He saw the signs immediately. Fresh inheritance. Recent grief. The uncertainty of someone whose life had suddenly lost its center. "You look like you need a drink," Dvaka said with an easy grin. "We're heading out. Come with us." Sigala hesitated. Then something in him answered. Why not? His father had spent a lifetime being careful. Maybe, he thought, this was what it meant to finally live. That first night was intoxicating in ways that had nothing to do with wine. These men seemed fearless. They spoke of adventures. Quick fortunes. Romance. Victory. Risk. Everything in their presence felt vivid and alive. For the first time, Sigala felt pulled into something electric. He had spent years watching his father count coins and worry about storms. Now he felt surrounded by possibility. As dawn approached, Dvaka laughed and said, "Next time, we gather at your house. Yours is larger." Sigala agreed before thought could intervene. He only knew he did not want the feeling to end. Soon the gatherings became regular. Every few nights. Then every night. His home changed. Music echoed through the courtyard until dawn. Oil lamps burned through the darkness. Servants ran endlessly with food and drink. The house his father had built with care became something unrecognizable. His new companions praised him. Called him generous. Called him brother. Promised loyalty. And Sigala, immersed in the atmosphere of belonging, mistook the water for friendship. This is how toxic environments work. They rarely arrive as obvious danger. They arrive as excitement. Validation. The feeling of finally being seen. And only later do you discover what they have quietly taken from you. At first, nothing seemed wrong. In fact, life appeared brighter than it had in years. The house was full. The nights were alive with laughter. There was always music, always conversation, always another plan for tomorrow. To Sigala, it felt like healing. After the silence that followed his father's death, this noise felt like medicine. But not everything that distracts us is medicine. Some things only postpone the moment we notice what is being lost. The gatherings grew larger. What began as evenings of shared wine slowly turned into something heavier. Money left the household faster than it entered. The servants grew uneasy. Small valuables began disappearing. Promises were made easily and forgotten just as easily. Still, Sigala did not question it. Because the mind often confuses familiarity with safety. Once a pattern becomes normal, even harm can begin to feel like home. This is the hidden danger of environment. It shapes perception before it shapes consequences. One night, long after the lamps had burned low, Sigala overheard 2 of the young men speaking in the courtyard. They believed him asleep. "He will pay for it," one of them said with a laugh. "He always does." Another voice answered. "As long as he keeps needing us, the house stays open." The words entered him like cold water. For the first time, the atmosphere around him changed.